Jaguar's XE has always been somewhat of a dark horse in the compact saloon segment. It's been great to drive, really nice to look at, and it's been smartly finished inside, but it's never managed to achieve the same level of popularity as its German rivals. However, Jaguar has now updated the XE with a range of new features, and most importantly, an innovative new interior. But the question is, can these changes help it to really succeed? That's what we're going to find out today. The exterior changes to the new XE are hardly what you'd call revolutionary. That said, they do help to give it a little more sharpness than before. The headlights have been refined and they've been given a new L-shaped daytime running light. This particular car features a range of black accents. You'll see them on the grille and on the fins at the side, as well as on the badges at the rear of the car. Some major issues with the previous generation XE's interior have been addressed with this latest version. And though we couldn't really fault the way that the last one felt in terms of quality, and also in the way that you sat in front of the wheel, we did have some arguments with some of the key features, and it's pleasing to note that these have all been addressed. Mainly the central screen setup. The one on the old XE was laggy, it was quite small compared to rivals, and it just didn't look very good. This new Pivi system is 100 times better. It's easy to use, it's good to look at, and it's nicely central too, so it's not too far to reach across when you are actually driving. Below this, you've got a secondary screen which controls your heating and ventilation and also your seat heat settings. And again, it's just a way to elevate the feel of the cabin, which already felt pretty good, but just needed some extra oomph to push it over the line. You've also got a smart selector area down here, and you've got wireless phone charging in the middle, which means you can charge your phone without having to plug it in. Overall, the interior of the XE feels like it's been given a real boost, and it's now a really great place to be. The cabin of the XE now feels like it's closer in line with its German rivals, but the question is, would you choose this cabin over that of, say, an Audi A4 or a BMW 3 Series? Let us know in the comments below. As a compact saloon car, you might not expect to get the most amount of space from the Jaguar XE, but it does surprisingly well, actually. The front seat is set to my position, and I've actually got a decent amount of legroom. And despite the XE's relatively sloping rear roofline, it's not too bad for headroom. It's a little tight, and certainly taller passengers will find their head brushing quite heavily into the roof, but it's not overly bad. Elsewhere, got a small charging port down here, and in the middle, got two small cup holders. It's not a bad place to be, and certainly it's a very comfortable one. Access the XE's boot, rather slim entry, and you get 410 litres of space to play with. Now, although that is pretty good, it is actually in fact quite a lot lower than you'll find in the C-Class and the 3 Series, which both offer 480 litres. This particular XE model is a D200, which means it uses a 2-litre turbocharged diesel engine with mild hybrid assistance for better efficiency. In total, you get 201 brake horsepower and 430 Nm of torque, and that means a 0 to 60 time of 6.9 seconds. Flat out, it'll do 146 miles an hour, but where efficiency is concerned, the XE does very well. Jaguar claims it'll return up to 58.3 mpg while emitting just 127 grams per kilometre of CO2. One area of the XE that we knew didn't really need changing was the driving experience. The previous car shone through with its dynamics and its ability to make even the dreariest of drives a little more exciting, so you can understand why Jaguar hasn't messed around too much with the way this latest version drives. The steering is quite quick, but that means it's light and it's agile, and it makes the front end of the car seem a little more pointy than you might expect. The ride in this car, it's okay. You're getting quite a lot of road noise, but it's not more than you'd expect from a 3 Series or an A4. Though diesel might be slightly under fire at the moment, Jaguar has invested heavily in making sure that its diesel engines perform well, and you can really tell with this 2-litre engine in this car. The automatic gearbox is nice and smooth shifting, and though you don't get paddles, so there's no option really to take manual control apart from via the central gear stick, you don't really feel like you'd want to even if you had the option. You leave the gearbox to its own devices and it manages the power very well indeed. Visibility is excellent too. These forward pillars aren't too thick, and at the back, even though that rear screen is quite slim, you do have a relatively good view out of the rear of the car. And even though this car does have mild hybrid assistance, you'd be hard pressed to understand when it's coming into play. It's usually used to fill in the gaps in torque or to generate some extra battery power when you're coasting to eliminate some of the emissions of the car. But realistically, this just feels like a very pleasant, smooth diesel engine, and that's just fine for a car like this. It's going to sit quite happily on the motorway, but likewise on country roads such as the ones we're travelling on today, the XE feels nice, it feels good to drive, and it feels relatively involving and far more than you might expect it to be. When it comes to outright refinement, okay, the cabin of the XE isn't perhaps as hushed as you might find from rivals, but it's certainly not too loud. You're getting a certain amount of wind noise and road noise, but it really does feel like it's refined and comfortable. It's just those noises do impede on what would otherwise be quite a quiet and solid cabin. The XE always felt like it could have been a key rival to those established German competitors, but it fell down in just a few key areas. Now, however, those issues have been thoroughly addressed, and it means that the XE is a genuinely credible alternative. In truth, you've got a great looking car which is good to drive and now feels exceptionally nice inside too. So if you are in the market for a compact executive saloon, the Jaguar XE isn't so hard to dismiss anymore. Now, if you have enjoyed this video, please remember to subscribe to the Motors.co.uk channel and hit that bell icon so you're notified each and every time we upload a new video.